Hey everyone, Lance Danger here. I just wanted to do a chill draw stream. Just like talk about a couple of things. I hope you're all hearing me all right. Like I'm trying out for the first time the feature of having continuous music going on throughout the stream. Since I am going to be quiet for some periods of time while I do some illustration, I do want to keep something at least, going so it won't be like completely silent. Let me just double check that everything is coming out well. So far, so good. All right, everything seems to be in place, playing well. I kind of like the vibe of this music. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, ooh, this is actually the perfect music to kind of chill out to. It's like one of the default music they have here on Restream. Right? Just making sure everything's okay. Once again, I hope you're all hearing me well. I hope the music in the background is also playing. I can't really tell really well. I guess I'll tell once the stream is over. So before I start drawing, like I have my stuff ready for drawing actually. Um, for those of you wondering, like of course this is for the glove for the XP pen. It's kind of like a Cintiq. You draw on the actual monitor and whatnot. The sleeve is a compression sleeve. I think I've shown it before. It helps with the bicep. Um, I'm going to get continue physical therapy soon on my shoulders and bicep, and this thing has really been a lifesaver, especially when doing illustrations and whatnot. Like it really does help with the muscles and the area that was affected, to keep it nice and tight and comfortable and not exhaust myself too much while I'm um, illustrating. And this elbow pad, um, cheap elbow pad. This is just for the comfort of my shoulder while I'm illustrating. Before I would put like a towel or a shirt or just something relatively soft to not put too much pressure on my shoulder. I watched a live stream a while back. Someone was using an elbow pad while they were illustrating, and I thought that was genius. And since I like to steal from a lot of other live streams or artists or whatnot, I thought, if it helps me, it helps me. And so far, it really has helped a ton with the pressure on my shoulder and whatnot. So let me just like show you guys what I'm going to be working on for a little bit. I am loving this music actually. I have to find out. I hope you guys can hear the music in the background. Right, this is what I am working on. That is page 8 of Fred Peterson, The Mighty Warlord. I should have had it finished by now, actually, but I saw an opportunity to finish The Cannon Girl and With My Money Wepito. Since they were so close to finishing, I just went ahead and finished those first, so I don't have to worry about it later. For this one, I just have to essentially ink, color, and letter it. That's usually not too bad to do. Like the worst part is coming up with the scene and doing the sketches and like going back and forth on the angles and whatnot. As you can see, I'm doing it a little bit more detailed than usual because I have a little bit more time since I decided to space my um, releases so that I'm able to give my shoulder a break, give myself, avoid getting that creative burnout, and to be able to at least release things with a nice pace rather than a frantic getting it all done all together. Even though this weekend was frantic and finishing some things, but in the long term, it's going to help me. And those were things that I was about to finish last year anyway. So, the couple of announcements, as I mentioned before, the Cannon Girl in the previous live stream, that one is completely finished the production. I completed the rest of the rest of the scripts that make up the 12 strips. So that's going to be updating on Sundays as usual, one strip at a time. So that's a good enough buffer for the last like 6 strips, I believe, that needs to be uploaded. And of course, throughout this week, I am going to be adapting it into the files that are necessary to send to Kablam, which is where I self-publish my comic books. So I'm going to convert it into black and white so that it doesn't become too expensive for you guys to buy it if you want to buy it, the physical copy. As I mentioned in the Canning Girl live stream. Let me check something out real quick. It's like, I don't know if you guys see it, but looked like I was kind of glitching or something. I don't know. At least the camera itself looks like it's glitching. Yeah, the camera's kind of glitching. I hope that the audio is fine. Let me like check. Okay, so far it sounds fine. Um, Let me just kind of take the camera off for now. Well, I had this anyway, like on the illustration itself, so I just like kind of caught it out of the corner of my eye. just disabling the camera for a second. As long as the audio is going up fine, that's what's most important, really. So, as I was saying, the Counter Girl, it's going to be adapted into black and white grayscale instead, so it can be more affordable for what it is. It is going to be like the previous releases of the Nevermind strips and the webisodes for the Fred Peterson The Mighty Warlord Book One. So they are going to be in the mini comic format. It's going to be in black and white. I'm estimating it's going to be around $2. I don't know how much the paper shortage will affect the actual final price. So, like, my guesstimate will be around $2, like the Nevermind mini comics has been. So, I'm going to be doing that this week. Um, Usually, I try to do the whole conversion of the files into the PDFs and the print ready files for Kablam, like in a day or two. But it's a really grueling process that I have to put everything else on hold for me to do that. But since I was able to finish all the strips before I actually published them online, that affords me some time. So I'm going to just take my time converting those files while I work on the other comics like Warlord and Clown and Nevermind Season 2. Again, just afford myself some time to not burn myself out, take care of myself physically as well. So I'm going to be converting those files throughout this week. The other big announcement, I had written a blog about it on the Truthful Comics site, where Paman Iwatito also finished production as well. So with Paman Iwatito, for the first time ever, is actually going to be seeing print as well, and it's going to be through Kablam, and it's the same thing as with Nevermind and Fred Pearson, The Mighty Warlord Book One webisodes. It's also going to be converted into black and white mini comic book format. Since again, Nevermind, Canning Girl, Whipamani Wepito, Stupid the Cat, they are very much experimental comics. So I just want to like put them like as a mini comic, have it affordable for anyone that wants to check it out if they're curious. Of course, they're also going to be available for download. I am considering also uploading them to Amazon Kindle, since Comixology is essentially going to be on Kindle now. So that's another option. I'm also considering Drive Through Comics and Comic House as well. So I'll make announcements soon about that as well as I kind of schedule things and sort things out on that aspect. They are going to be available soon at my local comic book shop, Anyone Comics as well. I just have to like print it out. I'm still not sure if I'm going to do a crowdfunder actually for to get like copies to sell at the comic book shop. It would be interesting to kind of dabble in crowdfunding. I've actually participated in funding quite a few indie comics lately, especially since the pandemic. I've been contributing to Kickstarters and Indiegogo a lot more than I had in the past. In the past, I only really did like one Kickstarter and one Indiegogo of the Tom McFarlane action figures, which we got the whole set of it. The three figures with all the variants and whatnot, and Sean Gordon Murphy's Cafe Racer back in the day when that was being crowdfunded as well, and then more recently the plot holes. But ever since the pandemic and the lockdown in 2020, I did start to spread out more in searching on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, also contributing to other colleagues' projects as well. I found quite a lot of comics that are pretty interesting. The Plot Holes was one of them as well, of course. That was like pre-pandemic, but You know what I mean. I also contributed to my colleague Jose Cruz's Alpha Number One in English, and Junkyard Dog, I believe it's called, the other comic that was it was like a co-production that Kickstarter. And I've also contributed to Airhead, which is an indie comic that's being produced by a Brooklyn comic book artist, Indie Mindy, or Mindy Indie, something. I always say it backwards or frontwards or whatever. Super kind, super talented creator. I met her at Free Comic Book Day a couple of years back. Um, she's very cool. I actually follow her on Patreon as well. So I've been considering doing a crowdfunder myself to maybe do Nevermind to publish some of the comics and sell it through comic book shops like Anyone Comics. Like not to like handle the entire costs of it, but to at least help complement it and put it over the edge of printing out just a handful of copies so I can sell it there at the comic book shop. But of course, I would have to think about tiers and you know what I can give of value for people to actually contribute to that Kickstarter. Like the upside would be that since the comic is completed, the delivery of the comic would be relatively quick. I just have to think about how the perks would be like and what I could offer and what people might be interested if I were to do this as a crowdfund. So that's something that's definitely been on the back of my mind. And for Webamaya, the artwork, the lettering, the coloring, it is all done. I'll put a live stream later in the week, like going more into detail. But the Truthful Comics edition of Webamaya, the production on it is complete. As soon as I finish converting the files for the Cannon Girl so I can publish it through Kablam. Then I'll start the process also to convert the files for Wetamani Webito so I can transfer that to Kablam as well so I can get that one into print. And as I'm doing all this, Manuel Carmona, the co-founder of Truthful Comics, he sends me a picture excited that Project New Wave issue number 3 is officially being reviewed by Kablam to make sure that all the files are nice and tidy, nice and tight, so it can be printed as well. So, on top of Nevermind, hopefully season 2 being out in print later in the year, the Cannon Girl Truthful Comics Edition, issue 1, with Amani the Truthful Comics Edition, issue 1, and as I spoke in the previous live stream as well, Stupid the Cat Black and White Edition of number 1. It's going to probably be the biggest year ever for Truthful Comics in terms of content being published out there and newer material as well. So that's definitely very exciting. I can't wait for all this to come out. I hope all of you enjoy it. Once everything is available through Indie Planet or in comic book shops or in activities, we'll definitely let you know. Manuel secured a spot in a comic book convention called Noise, I believe it is in Virginia. So that's, I believe it's going to be in the beginning of February. We'll definitely keep you posted on that and any other activities that either of us will be in the future as well. So very exciting times. Like I know a lot of things got set back last year, but hopefully this year things are going to run a bit smoother, especially since a lot of stuff has been, rolled back from, kind of like doing the groundwork for the stuff that's going to be coming out this year instead. And there's actually a couple of people watching at this hour. What are you doing up? I know it's fair to ask, what am I doing up? At least I have a reason. I'm an insomniac that's doing artwork. In any event, good morning to everyone that's watching. Then again, to be fair, it is like a relatively early enough stream for people that are just getting up if they're like early birds or and whatnot. Like it's not like the usual hour for my witching hour streams, which usually kind of end around this time, not start around this time. So yeah, in a nutshell, um, stay tuned for Webamani Webito Truthful Comics Edition Season 1, the Canon Girl Truthful Comics Edition Season 1, um, Stupid the Cat Truthful Comics Edition Black and White Edition, and Project New Wave issue number 3, um, that are going to be rolling out over the next couple of months, depending on how things go. Again, with the paper shortage and the time it takes Kablam to review the PDF files as well. Ever since the pandemic, Kablam has also seen a huge uptick in independent creators publishing their own works as well. Which in a way is cool too, because I love to see independent creators just grabbing the situation by the horns and saying, you know what, I'm going to publish my stuff. I'm still going to be cocky enough to say that during the lockdown in 2020, Warlord sold more copies than Spider Man when Diamond randomly shut down operations for a little while. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Right. Now that I've talked about that, I'm just going to go ahead and start illustrating. You guys are welcome to stay along, and if you want to ask any questions, I'll definitely be checking the chat every now and then to see if anyone's asking stuff. In the meantime, I'm actually going to be listening in the background to a YouTube channel called Fox and Anime. Actually, let me show that channel real quick so you guys can know what I'm talking about. And again, if my camera is off, it's because it was glitching a bit, so I decided to just turn it off. Okay. That's the channel I'm going to be listening to. I'm going to be listening to the reaction to the return of Attack on Titan on Sunday afternoon. The first episode of Attack on the final season, part 2, started. And there's a couple of channels that I enjoy listening to, the reactions to the episodes. I know a lot of people kind of like hate on reaction videos and reaction channels, but I actually kind of enjoy them because, especially if it's a personality that kind of deals with my own personality, it kind of feels like I'm just listening to a friend talk about the episode and whatnot. So I find it enjoyable in that sense. And usually that's what I listen to anyway while I'm illustrating. I'll be listening to podcasts or videos. Sometimes I'll be listening to music, especially if I'm like really, really like centered and I want to like finish something with no distractions. I'll just turn on Spotify and listen to some good old Ariel Smith or Weezer or Nirvana or even Air Supply or Lifehouse, depending on what I'm working on and depending on the mood that the artwork is setting as well. Cool. A bot actually just commented now. I actually kind of enjoy it when bots comment. I don't know why. I find that kind of amusing. Anyway, yeah, Fox and Anime. That's one of my favorite YouTube channels. He goes over a lot of animes and mangas. He kind of like gives his insights and reviews. Sometimes he'll like give snippets of news of what's coming out and whatnot. He's actually an American living in Japan. He's been living in Japan for quite a few years now. So I definitely really trust his instincts and his reporting and whatnot. And I also usually tend to agree with a lot of his reviews. So I guess there's a lot of confirmation bias in that sense also. So I listen to Fox and Anime. The Normies is another channel that I usually listen to as well, especially when I'm cooking. For some reason, it's just fun to listen to the Normies do their commentary over whatever they're watching while I'm cooking and whatnot. So I'm going to be listening to this. I'm not going to, of course, have the audio playing of the actual episode playing while I'm illustrating. That's like I said, that's why I'm experimenting with the lo-fi music that Restream is offering to kind of have in the background while I'm illustrating. So if you decide to like stay on, it won't be like too boring to just like see me illustrate and whatnot, and everything just be in complete silence. Or if you want to like stick around and watch my process, if you want to put on your own headphones and listen to whatever you would like to listen to while I illustrate, it's all good also. Or you can just, log off and later on, like when the stream is over, you can just like speed up the stream while you listen to whatever you would like to listen to as well. So let me just go ahead and stop sharing this screen real quick. There you go. Let me just go get the I'm just getting once again there we go. Make it bigger so you guys can see what I'm actually doing. Let me just slide my keyboard underneath the monitor stand. Like there's like the more this generation grows, the more benefits you get, man. Like I would have killed to have a monitor stand like this now where I can just have the monitor lifted and be able to accommodate stuff underneath. Like, for example, right now I can't accommodate the keyboard underneath my XP pen monitor so that I can have like this whole area free and I have like this huge freaking gaming mouse pad where if I need to use the mouse for one thing or another, I can just use that as well. The wonders of modern technology, man. Like I know, like it sounds like a boomer thing to say. I am Generation X, so I have seen like how things have slowly become more analog to more digital. So I guess I can appreciate that difference more than more recent generations that are already like born into this thing. Like they're babies that know how to handle tablets like out of the womb now, which is freaking crazy. Right, just double checking that everything is going on fine. Before I do start, I do want to talk briefly about Bob Saget. That is crazy. Bob Saget, famous comedian, He rose to fame. He was a stand-up comedian and kind of like rose to fame in the mainstream with the uh, 80s series Full House, where Candace Cameron Bure and the Olsen twins got famous for. I forgot the actress's name, but Aunt Becky was there, of course, and she got more infamous over the last couple of years. If you know, you know. And of course, John Stamos, Dave Coulier, um, mostly associated with Full House and the Alanis Morissette song "You Ought to Know," which is still mind blowing that someone like Dave Coulier could date someone like Alanis Morissette. It's almost frustrating in a way, not gonna lie. But yeah, Bob Saget. I grew up watching Bob Saget on Full House, and of course, um, America's Funniest Home Videos. Like I've always said, America's Funniest Home Videos for us Gen Xers, that was pretty much YouTube way before YouTube. You had the funny animal videos, the cup shots, um, all the stuff that pretty much made YouTube famous and viral. That's like peak virality in the 80s and 90s before the internet became more accessible to the general public. And of course, um, before YouTube, sites like albinoblacksheep.com that would show like the first memes and the first viral videos as well. Good times, good stuff, man. But yeah, like it's crazy that he was tweeting yesterday morning about stand-up shows that he was doing, and suddenly like he's gone. It's like it's odd enough that 2021 ended with Betty White passing away. I was saying, like in a tweet and on social media, that 2021 didn't take Betty White. Betty White took 2021 with her. Kind of like to try to spin it into something more positive, I guess. But now it's like Sidney Poitier passed away earlier in the week, and now Bob Saget. It's like, wow, man, like this is like 2018 all over again. Like 2017, 2018, man. There were a lot of um the stars that were like passing away one after the other. Like those were the years that we were joking that uh George R. Martin was writing the story to those years. Like what a start to the year, man. I hope it's not indicative of how the rest of the year is going to go. Like with the Omicron and now, you know, like Sidney Poitier and Bob Saget. Those are like two icons in their respective fields. And it's sad, man, all the feels that you get from that. And not to mention also that Bob Saget was probably the only really funny thing from the Dumb and Dumber sequel. That was a prequel that came way before the actual sequel. Like I don't know if anyone on here has actually watched the prequel to Dumb and Dumber. Um, Dumb and Dumber 2 when Harry met Larry. It was like when they met in college and whatnot, like their origin story. And pretty much Bob Saget, like he was in it in just like two or three scenes, but there were the two or three most memorable scenes of the entire movie. Like if anyone ever mentions that movie to me, that's pretty much the only thing I'll remember. Like the Bob Saget scenes. You probably have seen it if you've seen the movie, or people are actually sharing that on social media over the night. You know, yes, that part specifically because it was like the funniest part of the movie, like his big scene in the movie towards the end. It's crazy to think like he was like a surrogate father for so many people. Like I saw a friend of mine on Facebook posting that when he was a kid, the Tanners were essentially like the family he kind of wished he could have been in when he was a little kid because he also really appreciated the character of Danny Tanner. Like it's crazy how actors and shows can impact the life like that. Like when I was a kid, when Full House first came out, I was pretty much around the age of Jodie Sweetin, the actress that played Stephanie on Full House. Actually, no, I was a little, like a couple of years older. Like I think I was a little closer to Candice Cameron Bure's age actually. But I always had a crush on Jodie Sweetin even when I was a little kid. She was like one of my first crushes as a kid. Why I am saying this, I do not know. So I wouldn't like wish I was part of that family, but I would per se. But if that family existed, I wouldn't have minded dating Stephanie. Anyway, with that awkwardness aside, let me just go ahead and start illustrating here. Like I'm just going to lay down the inks on this page. Um, Depending on how things go, I'll either do the whole page or I'll just like take a short break after inking it and then I'll finish it offline. Like again, like depends on whoever's watching and if people wants to keep watching and whatnot. Um, By the way, thank you, Manuel, for your reacting the Facebook stream because I do simultaneously stream between Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so right now I'm just going to like kind of stay low key quiet here. I'm going to raise the volume a bit up for the lo-fi, and I'm just going to start illustrating as I listen to reactions to Attack on Titan final season part 2, episode 17 of season 4. Again, feel free to send me a comment or react while I'm illustrating, and I'll catch you all guys in a little bit. Again, I'm just going to be right here laying down inks. Like usually I don't erase the red line. I just accidentally ink on the wrong layer. Um, Again, like I'm getting used to kind of managing multiple kind of windows open here. Hey, Adam Lord, thank you so much for checking this out. Hope you're having a great morning and an even better new year so far. Yeah, Adam, that was absolutely crazy about Bob Saget. Like, I was kind of down about it too. Like, I wasn't even going to live stream, but I thought to myself, I might as well do a live stream just to kind of, you know, in a way pay my respects and you know, a lot of times when things that get me down happen, like illustrating and creating is like my refuge. So here I am. Yeah, have a good one, Adam. Thank you so much for stopping by and commenting. Hope you have a wonderful day and a great start to the week. I'm just taking like a couple of minutes to rest my hand and my shoulder a little bit since I've been inking like close to an hour now, and I want to like take sporadic little breaks every time I illustrate. Again, just to um, keep in mind my health and the recovery of my shoulder and my bicep and whatnot. Just switching headphones real quick just to make sure that everything is going right. Because as I mentioned before, I am listening to um, reaction videos while I'm doing the inking for this page. I'm listening to reaction videos to the premiere of Attack on Titan final season part 2. And like I mentioned earlier in the stream, like I don't watch that many reaction videos or reaction channels, but there are certain ones that I do appreciate the work that they're putting in because of their personalities kind of mesh with like my own personality or personalities of friends that I have. It feels like I'm just kind of listening in and interacting to an extent with other friends that are watching the same things that I like and whatnot. And it's fun to just like hear the actual reactions of these people once they actually see in real time the episode and all that jazz. Because they're usually like about the same reactions that I have. If you're just joining, the reactions that I'm watching is Foxen Anime, the Normies, and right now I'm on RTTV listening to their reaction as well to Attack on Titan final season part 2, season 4, episode 17, Judgment. But what a ride Attack on Titan has been. Like, I've been watching it since 2014. I believe it was 2014 when the anime premiered. And I've been reading the manga on and off since then. Like, I started reading the manga more towards the final story arc. It was very enjoyable. Like, I really appreciate Isayama's style doing the anime. I don't know if the music is a little too loud, so I'm just going to lower it a tiny bit again while I just rest my shoulder and my hand for a couple of minutes so I can go ahead and do some more inking on this page. I'm just going to like ink a little bit more and then add some zip tone to it as well digitally. And then I'm going to call it a stream because afterwards I'm just going to like make myself some breakfast. My girlfriend also has the day off, so I'll likely, if she's awake by then, I'm also going to do breakfast for her as well. And of course, my cat is walking around now also. Usually, he keeps me company when he sees that I'm either recording the podcast or the Enter the Danger Zone or when I'm doing live streams and whatnot. Usually he'll sleep in our bed, but when he realizes that I'm not in bed, he'll just like come to the living room as well and chill on the ottoman or the sofa or on the chair um, behind my chair while I'm working on stuff. And every now and then, of course, I'll like check up on his food bowl, his water fountain, because he does drink from a specific cat water fountain. It's something that I found out about years ago before I had another cat again. That cats tend to not drink as much water from a regular water bowl because it's within their feline instincts that if they see still water, they're going to think that's stale and bad water that's going to affect them. Um, that's going to affect their health. So, as a precaution, they don't usually drink water from a bowl, or at least they don't drink as much as they should, which of course leads to a lot of kidney problems for cats. And using a water fountain for cats that's constantly showing like a stream of flowing water, like again, they'll have their instincts kick in, and once they see that flowing water, they're just going to start drinking from that water fountain instead. And I did notice that huge change because what we had was like the water bottle that slowly refills the water bowl. That's what he's been used to since he was a kitten, really. And he would drink water, of course, but not as much as you would like him to drink water, or at least not as much as you would want a cat to drink water. But ever since we switched to the a water fountain instead, he's been drinking so much water now. Like we've had it for a couple of months now, and he just drinks so much water. Like especially after we give him treats, or after he has his meal, or just when he's feeling thirsty. I guess like he'll just go directly to the to the water fountain and just start drinking and drinking and drinking. Which is definitely great. He's an elder cat. He's 13 years old, and we want to keep him around for as long as possible, and give him his best life in his senior cat years now. And he's grown really attached to me, actually. Like usually when he's napping or when we sleep in bed, he'll cuddle up to me, or if he's not cuddling up to me exactly, like when he goes to position himself to sleep, he'll stretch either his hind paws or one of his front paws to touch my leg to make sure that I'm actually in bed with him too. Right, just finished my small breather here. Consider it like an NBA 1 minute timeout or something, just so I can go ahead and continue doing this. So I'm just gonna put like a couple of more inks, put down some tones to differentiate the background and the foreground and the characters and whatnot. If you're noticing, the style is a lot more detailed than the last couple of pages. It's like I said before, just to pace myself and to be able to at least slowly finish out some projects. I am going to be updating Warlord and the other web comics once a week. And that also permits me sometimes to not exactly rush into the page, because I've been doing it a little too rushed lately, especially this chapter, the art I consider and the coloring I consider as one of the messiest starts that I've had. Story wise, it's one of the best starts I've ever had. Visually wise, it's not the most appealing. As the young people say, no cap. I cannot lie about that. Um, some people may say I have an ego, but it's because I can, also take being my own worst critic and being self-aware enough to realize, okay, this is not looking too great. I have to work on this. This is probably the best looking page in terms of line art so far in this chapter. And as I mentioned before, once I stop with the toning and the inking, I am going to stop the live stream. I'm going to get myself something to eat, and then I'll just like finish it off offline if I don't take a small nap before that. Anyway, I'm going to stay quiet and keep listening to Attack on Titan reactions while I'll put up the music up a little bit again. And again, if you want to leave a comment or a react, you can definitely do so as well. All right, and let's continue with this. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it a day with this particular page. I guess against switching headphones real quick. So yeah, in terms of inking, I'm going to call it a day. For now, as I mentioned before, I'm just going to like have some breakfast at this point, and afterwards, I'll just continue offline, um, finishing up the page with the coloring and the lettering. But I thought it would be fun for you guys to see my digital inking process. Um, Going from the rough sketch with the digital rough sketch pencils, and going through that process of inking and putting in the tones and whatnot. As I mentioned before, I'm pacing myself a little bit more in order to be able to be posting pages more consistently. So hopefully this will give you a glimpse into kind of my um, process of creating a page for Warlord. Maybe one day I'll show like a more dedicated video, like showing step by step from when I do the sketch on a copy paper, and then I scan it in, and then I do like the digital rough with the digital red pencil, and then as you guys saw, I already had the digital red pencil for the page up, and all I did was just like the inking, the finishing, and the toning for it. So in terms of like inking and toning, this page is already done. Um, Later on, in a little while, I am going to be coloring it and lettering it so I can upload it today on the Duck Web Comics, up to Truthful Comics, and my own website as well. Throughout the day, I am going to be updating blogs as well, talking about the 2022 goals on Truthful Comics. And I'm also going to do my first personal blog on my own personal website of the my first blog of the year for my personal website as well. And as always, stay tuned for YouTube. Every single day, I'm posting content, whether it's YouTube Shorts. Wednesdays, I'm uploading the Long Road to Hell, which is, I believe, my seventh run at the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge. I already went through the 100 days. I have recorded every single day, and I'm just uploading what I had recorded um, when I started doing the challenge at the end of September. So those are going up on Wednesdays. Last week I uploaded the video that cataloged days 1 through 7. I had a great response to it from a lot of colleagues that watched it. And this Wednesday is going to be the second episode. Um, Also, on this Wednesday, going up on Podomatic and different podcast services. My podcast, the Serene Chaos Podcast, is going to be going live. Episode 6, I believe, is going to be going live after it was on early access on Patreon. It's going to be available free to listen over at Podomatic, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatnot. So that's going to be going up on Wednesday as well. And then on Friday, the previous episode of the Suri Chaos podcast will be going up on this very YouTube channel as well. And whatever live stream I'll do, probably on Wednesday, I'll do the second part of the live stream of doing the manga practice kit with my non dominant hand. That was a fun stream to do when I did it last year, like towards the end of December. And I haven't worked on it yet because I do want to go through the whole process on live stream. And of course, web comics going up. Um, the Cannon Girl updated this past Sunday. Watamani Wepita updated this past Saturday. This very page of Warlord that I was working on in this live stream will be hopefully going up today. And other webcomics like Clown and Exorcist expected next week, hopefully. And of course, also DTF6 Delta Task Force 6. Anyway, for everyone that had joined and reacted and commented, thank you so much for spending this little bit of time with me. Once again, rest in peace, Bob Saget, and I hope you all have a great, great rest of your week.